AFL fans, welcome back to PommyInOz. So let's all sit down and buckle up. We've got the review of the first clash that we were live for. Hawthorn versus Sydney, which was an absolute thriller, as they say in Ireland. Momentum swings, big goals under pressure, and stars making statements early doors in round zero. Hawthorn walked away with a 20-point victory, but trust me, this was far from one-sided. Sydney did have a resurgence in the third quarter, and the crowd got really into it. The final term, it had it all on the line. We're diving into how Hawthorn got the job done, Sydney's biggest missed opportunities, tactical breakdowns, player performance, and of course, how everyone in the AFL viewed this game. Who stood out, who struggled, and what the result tells us heading in to the real big part of the season, round one. Stick around because we're breaking it all down. So without any further ado, roll the intro, get into it. All right, let's start with the numbers and how it finished. Hawthorn 14-12-96, defeating Sydney 11-10-76. And how did we get there? Well, quarter one, it was the Hawks by 6. Both teams traded early blows in what was a really good start to the game. Quarter two, Hawthorn took momentum, turned up the heat, punishing Sydney with what was only really a midfield masterclass. Quarter three, Hawks were pegged back. Sydney really exploded. As the rain started to come down, you saw that slingshot from Sydney, that real get the ball forward at all costs. And then quarter four, Hawks made some tactical masterclasses, kicked 3 unanswered goals, some unforced errors from Sydney, and they basically closed the door on any Swans fight back. Hawthorn led for most of the night, but Sydney did have their chances, and they will walk away from this game just wondering what could be had they taken them opportunities and hit targets when the game was there to be won. So what were the key moments from this? This game really did showcase why AFL is probably one of the best codes of football in the world, albeit being just a national game here in Australia. Will Day, he was absolutely phenomenal, off the chain, particularly early doors. Been a lot of talk about him, and he really erased any doubts about is he ready to go into that upper echelon. 26 touches, 9 clearances and 3 goals, and most of this work was done by the half. His third goal was an absolute peach, bursting through traffic and a proper Hawthorn give and go, run and stun type goal. Sydney's third quarter fight back, though, will be one that we will talk about. Chad Warner literally was him in that third quarter, was everywhere. A 50-metre bomb that ignited the crowd. They booted 5 goals to 2 in a game that really you suddenly thought, could they? Could they? And the Sicily tactical switch has got to be said. Once the rain started falling, it was weird. Sydney started to play kick mark where Hawthorn started to play territory game. And James Sicily was swung forward. Obviously, when you've got Barras and Battle, that's quite easy to swing a bloke of that calibre there. But James Sicily seemed to be the only player that maybe he had arrow die in his pockets. He could mark the ball, and he was an absolute pain, gifting some dimes for goals, and really was a consummate target all the way. A few injury rows for Sydney. They lost Taylor Adams. Hawthorn lost James Warple, who incidentally looked like he is ready to go back to his best. 5 straight behinds, though, in the quarters for Sydney. Literally was wasted opportunities, and Hawthorn's defence was good. Sydney's comeback was brave, but Hawthorn's ability to control the game is really what mattered. So who stood up then? Well, obviously the best performers were Will Day. 26 touches, 9 clearances, 3 goals. No debate for me. He'll probably get the 3 Brownlow votes. Elite IQ, his poise, his class. And people are starting to say he's a Brownlow Smoky. Calm down, people, but it's round zero. Chad Warner was impeccable, 21 touches, 2 goals. The heartbeat, really, of this comeback showed for me why he is very underrated. He's not in many people's top 10s in the league. I would definitely have him in top 10 players. Sicily, 20 touches, 8 of them intercepts, 1 goal, was an absolute menace. Absolute menace. Blakey, very interesting. 804 metres gained, 26 touches. He ran the ball, gave them a run and carry at times. Times his ball use was a bit shocking, though. He didn't quite penetrate Hawthorn's rigid defensive system, but he did show a lot. And Joel Amati, coming of age, we were big on him in the pre-season. He kept them in it. It was a very good target, and I loved his work rate up the ground. So what are the 5 takeaways? Well, for me, the first one, let's wrap this game up into them. Tom McCartin as a forward. Is it a risky move? Sydney played him as a forward, and although he was a handy-ish target in forward 50, can't feel that backline against the good sides is going to be exposed. I feel like he is a key defender. Hawthorn aren't the most giant forward structure, and I did watch this, and the ease in which Maribor Chol at times found space in that backline, especially when Blakey was deployed there, I don't think he is much of a quality defender. And Dane Rampey having to do one-on-one defending at 35 didn't ring true. That's going to be an interesting one for Dean Cox. I like the experiment. I like them thinking outside the box. But is it not robbing Peter to pay Paul? They looked very undersized in the aerial threats. He did his job, but is the trade-off worth it? This is something that I think Dean Cox will have to think. Chad Warner is an absolute beast. If this game showed anything, it's Chad Warner is going to be the most sought-after player in the off-season. He literally was a one-man band in that third. Absolutely explosive. If they're going to be a contender, Chad Warner, while he's there, everything is good about him. It's very interesting should Chad Warner leave that Sydney side, because I just don't feel Errol Goulden can do it on his own, and Heaney. I feel like Warner, Heaney and Goulden are everything that's good about Sydney's engine room. Will Day's thriving on that freedom that is given to him by Sam Mitchell. He looked completely unleashed and unshackled. His ability to read the game, drift forward, win stoppage ball, but also slot back as an extra defender, showing that he's really ready to step up into that elite category. Hawthorn are letting him play on instinct, and that is massively paying off. Want to give a shout out to Connor Nash. Now, he played a lot on Heaney, and although Heaney did find some clearances, 10 of them, I thought he was a pain in the arse all night. He's one of them players that I think is going to be a real kind of, if you're playing sexy football, you need the guy that works the door, right? And I feel like he is the doorman at the orgy of football godness that Hawthorn are playing. I think he's one of the unsung heroes. He's a real grinder in that middle engine room. He makes it hard, he makes it awkward. He starved Sydney of that outlet ball all night. And although he won't get the plaudits, I do want to give him a little bit of a pep up from Uncle Pom. And 5, Sam Mitchell might be the tactical genius of the AFL. Their ability to adapt to situation in game is absolutely terrific. Now, there was some question marks last season. Are they willing to shelve the plan when things are going too well and they need to lock out the game? But I thought the game was on the line. To have that bold switch while Sydney were coming of giving Sicily the outlet in the forward half, master stroke. But that's not just the Sicily late move. I thought the game-changing ability of being able to block the corridor run in quarter 4 was crucial by pincing the wings into the central areas. Hawthorn are going to be a real threat, and we talked about the question mark of have they add stuff. I think they've added the hundreds and thousands on what is already a very good cake. So what do you guys and girls think? Warner, track All-Australian, surely. Will Day, is he as good as everyone's saying? How far can the Hawks go in 2025? And is moving McCartin forward a mistake? If you like this breakdown, or if you enjoy the channel, do me a favour, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Really does help out. I'll see you next time. Pom out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.